Hey nerds, what's up? So today I'm tackling a pretty popular challenge that has been going around in the YouTube art community for a while, which is drawing in 10 different styles. So let's get started. I've done this a lot throughout my art journey, where I've copied actual pictures from manga, TV shows, all that sorts of things as references, and just recreated the scene in my own sketchbooks. So I've already had a little bit of practice in the different art styles, but I'm drawing in 10 distinct art styles today in my regular quarantine outfit, I would say. This is an outfit I wear a lot, and I thought it would be pretty easy to do and recreate 10 times. The first style, of course, that we're tackling is my own style. You can probably see throughout my style that I've really drawn references from anime, and I definitely have more of a cartoony anime style than anything else. I try to add some realism, of course, but I definitely think that my style is leaning more towards a cartoonish anime stylized look. When I drew the 9 other styles, I noticed that black lines were a prominent feature for almost all of them, which is very understandable. In animation and TV shows, you don't have the time and luxury to color all of your black lines to match either your outlines of your hair or your outfit, and so it's totally understandable that every other style has distinct black lines, whether thick or thin. But for my personal style and artworks, I do enjoy having the outlines either match the skin tone or just be a different color than like a stark black. So I picked these 10 different art styles partially because I'm familiar with them, but also they are one of the more common styles that I have seen throughout all the different YouTube videos that I've watched of people tackling 10 different styles, 20 different styles, and so on. Most of these drawings were pretty simple in color-wise, which was very helpful and made the process shorter than it already was. This whole 10 styles challenge definitely took a few days, partially because I drew them all in my sketchbook first and then uploaded them each digitally so that I could have a clean slate and make all of the outlines crisp. So the first style that I am tackling is Gravity Falls. I have watched Gravity Falls, and I was honestly drawn by the story and also the intro, which has a more streamlined animation than even the TV show, which in general, the animation is pretty good. Something that I've been trying to do in these 10 different art styles is to draw from both Eastern styles and Western styles. Something that I've noted in Western styles or American cartoon styles is a lot of the times they draw the eyes very close together, which Gravity Falls does, and you'll see in a couple more styles that I emulate later on. And that's just a choice. It's not, I don't think, a bad thing. It just makes me think of like Garfield and The Simpsons and some other very notable American TV shows and comic strips. The next one is another Western show, Invader Zim, which is a direct contrast to the smooth, curvy lines of Gravity Falls. That was one of the reasons why I chose it. I also grew up watching Invader Zim, though I didn't finish this series because it kind of got a little dark and weird for me. But I definitely watched a lot, loved Gurr, Did any of you guys watch the new Invader Zim that I think came to Netflix? Did anyone watch that? And I know there's also a comic series, so I'd love to know who is an Invader Zim fan out there, and if they still like Invader Zim, or at least grew up watching it. Something about Invader Zim, I decided to draw myself as an adult figure rather than the small versions like Zim or Dib or Gur. So I thought it would be more appropriate to do the taller version. I might go back and try to draw myself in the smaller version, but for this style challenge, I wanted to draw myself in as an adult because that's what I am, even if I mentally don't think I am. The straight, angular lines were both helpful digitally, but it was also challenging. Looking at references, it was hard to see, and I'll note this for a lot of the styles, mainly the Eastern styles, I didn't have a lot of references for bigger people, wider people. Everyone was pretty skinny or they were just in the background. And so I didn't have enough references to see how they would draw larger people in their television shows or animations. So that was a little bit challenging, but I did my best to interpret it. Next up is Animal Crossing. I definitely gave a lot of love to Animal Crossing in my last video, which was drawing different Animal Crossing villagers as people. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. So I took my Animal Crossing person from Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I basically copied exactly what I look like. The hair, I combined two different styles because they don't actually have the style that my hair is. They have a wavy one with like side bangs, and then they have straight hair with front bangs, and I don't have front bangs, and so I kind of cheated and combined the two so that it looked more like me, but everything else was in-game and I didn't do anything. This one was a nice change of pace because I didn't have to do any outlines. Since it's a 3D character, I just did color and then made it 3D, adding shading and lighting. My Animal Crossing person took a long time as well because I worked on her eyes for a long time. I thought I had the right shape originally, but looking back at references, I didn't have it exactly right, so I finagled with them a lot, and you'll see that throughout this speed draw. When I was younger, I used to draw my characters with just circle hands, just like Animal Crossing, though I don't think Animal Crossing was out yet or I hadn't played it. I just took it off of my brother, he drew his characters when we were younger the same way, with just circle hands. Plus, that makes it way easier, and if any artist is out there, you guys know how hard hands are to draw, so it was definitely a cop-out for a long time. I did not draw hands. Next up is Sailor Moon. I grew up watching Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z were really the first anime I ever watched, but I didn't consider or know that anime was a thing. I just thought it was really cool shows that came on Cartoon Network, and I watched them a ton. And I loved Sailor Moon. I I drew so many comics that were straight ripoffs off of Sailor Moon with magical girl sequences and transformations, and they were so bad. But it just showed how much I loved Sailor Moon and that whole magical girl aesthetic. Something that I learned drawing Sailor Moon in their style is that there are legs for days. The smallest waists and then legs, which is very flattering to me. But yeah, it made me look very nice, but yeah, it was a lot. So something interesting that I noticed, and you'll see me using different pictures for different references of shading and the eyes and everything, was all of the Sailor Scouts have different eye shine. So some of them have the little triangles on the bottom of their eyes. Some of them have the shine in the upper corner of their eyes. And I just thought that was a really neat detail that I've never really noticed before. Next up is probably the biggest influence on my drawings, and that would be Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli. I'm not sure how you say it now. I pronounce it Ghibli, but I've heard other people say Ghibli, so I don't know. I love Studio Ghibli. I fell in love with them pretty early on in middle school, I want to say. Spirited Away was my first movie that I saw of them. Or was it? And then it was Castle in the Sky and Howl's Moving Castle. And those I watched religiously over and over. And then when I discovered there were more and more of their films, I watched them all. And one of my best friends actually gave me the collection for my birthday one year. So I love Studio Ghibli. It's one of those beautiful animations that they focus more on the background and just such detail-oriented paintings that are backgrounds and environments, and then you have these very simplistic character designs, but they're still so realistic in how they move and act, and it's just a wonderful combination. And Hayao Miyazaki and the whole team just creates really cool worlds and stories, and it's just so much fun to watch, and they're a huge influence on me. Now we're going back to the West and working on Tim Burton style. Tim Burton and his movies were definitely another one that I grew up watching. Nightmare Before Christmas and Corpse Bride and all of those were definitely interesting movies that I really loved. I really had a thing for Jack Skellington for a really long time. Just loved anything with his face on it, basically. Plus, Tim Burton's style is so distinct, I don't think there are many people who would look at a shirt with these very spindly, skinny people with huge eyes and not mistake them for Tim Burton style. It was definitely something fun to attempt. Again, I wasn't going for the claymation look, but rather his illustrative work. And he had a lot of hatching lines and, again, very skinny, spindly, a little bit messy lines, which was fun to deal with, as well as messy coloring. Next style is Danny Phantom. I grew up on Nickelodeon and watched Fairly Odd Parents, SpongeBob, and Danny Phantom. Things that Butch Hartman has worked on and or drawn for, I just have a special place in my heart. And Danny Phantom was definitely one of my favorites. And I've actually rewatched it a couple years ago with my sister. And it's just so much fun to go back to. You can definitely see his love for superheroes and putting that in his show. This style was definitely fun and pretty easy to recreate. The thick outlines were definitely a distinct feature that I really didn't notice too much, or how thick the lines were. I knew that there was a distinct black outline, but these were thick lines. And again, they're drawing on that style of the eyes being very close together, but all in all, a really fun style to recreate and paying homage to a show that I still love today. The next style is based on a show that I also grew up on as well, greatly influenced how I drew for a very long time, is Superman the Animated Series. All of those shows that were produced by Bruce Timm, Batman Animated Series, Justice League, all of those shows were highly influential on my drawing, as well as I loved them so much. I drew people with super square, big shoulders for a very, very long time, just emulating the style that was put into all of those animated series. And it took a very long time to get that out of my system. Like, I still draw guys with broad shoulders, but they are not square and don't make anatomical sense. But I still love the show. Drawing the women was a little bit on the harder side for me, and I feel like this style was the one I couldn't emulate the best. I think this is the worst style recreation, in my opinion. I'd be curious to see what you guys think. But yeah, it was challenging. But I still love the series. I go back and watch it all the time. And it was definitely something that influenced both my love for superheroes and Superman, as well as my drawing style. The final style that I am tackling today is Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Again, I'm not working on the iconic 3D animation type of style, but rather the artwork that goes with it, like on the front cover and in the how-tos and everything. And I really enjoyed this style. The lines were super forgiving as well as thick. There's a distinct messiness and not uniform outline. The thickness and thinness of the line varies throughout the drawing, and it's really fun to emulate. I love Wind Waker. It is my favorite Zelda game, and it was really fun to recreate this style, especially as my last one where I'm kind of tired of drawing and again, the lines are forgiving and kind of messy, which was just a breath of fresh air. Thanks for watching this video. If you made it this far, congrats, proud of you. If you like this type of content, stick around because I plan to do lots more art and nerdy things. Especially, I'm planning to do another 10 style challenge. I'd be very curious to see what kind of styles that you would like me to try and emulate. Comment that down below. If you like this type of video, why don't you stick around and press a like, subscribe. I upload every Monday, so press that notification bell to be notified exactly when I upload on Monday. Thanks again so much for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.